For you, in your role as a pastor, um, could you do me a favor and define the pastoral office and role in ministry? And the reason I ask that is because not because any of us don't know,
Mm,
but because I think we do overcomplicate things.
yeah.
And I think, especially in the world of missions, we try so hard to have these bleeding edge, innovative strategies. And what I think the Lord calls us to more so than that is simple faithfulness.
Mhm.
And I think fundamentally that the task that gospel ministers are called to is unchanging through the ages.
Yeah.
It looks different, it contextualizes different ways, but it's the same task. So it's
Yeah.
Monday morning. You wake up. Yesterday was the Lord's Day, right? And you're about, as a pastor, you're about what?
Yeah. Well, I think you're absolutely right. We do tend to, we want to get creative about the things that we do. We want to be innovative. It's just the culture we live in. Everyone wants to be Steve Jobs. And as the Lord, gifted Steve Jobs in particular ways, I mean, that's not necessarily what we want to see in pastoral ministry. And so you do want to be creative. You do want to be thoughtful about the way in which you go about the task that the Lord has called you to perform. But you don't just make it up out of thin air. You don't want to be pragmatic. So a pastor, the New Testament talks about pastoral ministry in several different ways. The apostles refer to pastors as shepherds, as overseers, as elders, as leaders, as those who are specifically given the task to lead the church in the ministry of the word. So proclamation of the word and the administration of the ordinances or the sacraments. But then also one other aspect of that as well is the administration of the church body itself. You see this in particularly in Paul's letters. I think a lot of times there's a lot of focus given merely to the preaching of the word, which is central. But there's also that administrative task that the pastor has to bring to the church as well. He has to oversee, he has to lead the household of God. And if he's not able to lead his own house, if he's not able to administer in his own house, how can he administer in the household of God?
Can you go into a little bit more detail there as well? I